more people are.
Yeah. All rise, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Before tonight's meeting, we met in executive session to discuss some matters of litigation. Next item on the agenda is a presentation by Tom Kelso regarding bike and hike. But before, Tom, you do that, I'm going to pass the chair over to Rick Colello.
Tom, we didn't invite you here to talk about the bike and hike trail.
I wasted a whole day of my time preparing. I was telling Bill I had slides and everything.
All morning.
Really? Well, you can do it next meeting.
Because I listened to you this morning, and I was going to do it tonight. So I thought I learned enough from you. But no, the real reason is that the board has an award.
Please, I want you to.
The Unsung Hero Award. An unsung hero is more than just a volunteer. An unsung hero doesn't just show up at committee meetings, but an unsung hero is someone who makes a difference. Someone who cannot say no, because I don't think I ever heard no come out of your mouth. Although a few times in the Planning Commission, I think you were ready to say something to me, but we...
I quit.
When they feel a job needs to be done, they stand up and volunteer to complete the job, and Tom always completes the job, but does not receive the proper recognition.
He doesn't ask for it, that's the point. I mean, he doesn't require it. You just do it because you're doing it.
And most...
Because I enjoy it.
That's the point of the unsung.
There you go.
And most of the residents of Doylestown Township do not know or would even recognize you, but I've worked with you for 14-plus years and met you 20 years ago, and I'll tell every township resident that the township is a better place today due to Tom Kelso, an unsung hero. So with that, I'll read the official wordage. Doylestown Township Board of Supervisors, Doylestown Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania proclamation. A proclamation of the Doylestown Township Board of Supervisors recognizing Thomas Kelso for service to our community and naming him the 2013 Doylestown Township Unsung Hero. Whereas Thomas Kelso is a resident of Doylestown Township, and whereas Thomas Kelso has volunteered his time in our community since his appointment to the Planning Commission in 1984. That's 30 years. 30 years of walking around with those... In fact, I didn't recognize you without the engineering. It's like you're always walking around with engineering plans. Whereas Thomas Kelso currently serves on the Township's Planning Commission, Doylestown Community Joint Bike and Hike Committee, and the Open Space and Farmland Preservation Board, and whereas Thomas Kelso served on the Township's 1998 Strategic Planning Committee, and whereas Thomas Kelso volunteers his time and expertise in areas that benefit the Township, especially with trail planning for the bike and hike system. Not only putting in long hours at meetings, he also contributes his time to do field work, produce maps and reports, thereby saving the Township money in consulting fees. And, if I could digress, it just amazes me. He knows the topography and geography of this entire township. It's amazing. You could talk about this, that, and he'll say, well, I think there's a slope there next to that, and it comes...
I need to get out more.
And, whereas Thomas Kelso's family owned land in New Britain dating back to the 1700s, perhaps it's the long-time connection to the area that motivates Mr. Kelso to give back to the community. And whereas Thomas Kelso continuously gives his time, energy, and resources selfishly without seeking recognition or notoriety. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Doylestown Township Board of Supervisors recognizes Thomas Kelso for service to our township and for his selfless giving to the community. We hereby name him the 2013 Doylestown Township Unsung Hero, duly proclaimed this 20th day of August, 2013. even get
Speech.
Family?
Somebody would have to tell them this.
Thank you for coming.
This is my son, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Nice to meet you.
How you doing?
Hi.
I'm Hi, Kathy.
I'd like to say, the reason I do this is because we can accomplish a lot. And we don't accomplish anything without everybody working, the staff, supervisors, volunteers. That's what keeps, I think, all of this going.
That's true.
And working in other municipalities, it always amazes me how little they get done sometimes. How much to us down here.
Page of the Herald and the front page of the...
My camera is really so I'm going to get in here real quick. So fantastic, 2013 Untitled Chapter. Thank you, Thomas talking about supervisors. For any district,
Okay, and we're going to do one more. It's the one close. Okay, here we go. There you go.
Thank you.
Now we want to hear what this president...
That's part of being the unsung hero. You get to leave.
I think there's a pizza waiting for you, Tom.
Is there?
It's
Okay. Pizza did it, huh? I saw your wife's leaving, so you have to go.
Oh,
Okay, Tom. Good to see you.
Good night.
thanks for coming.
Have a good one.
Good night.
Does he get this?
Brian Mannion's in Washington, D.C. Sorry, she's, I think, locked down in the Pentagon or something, so she can't be here tonight. Okay, any visitors or public comment tonight? Yes, sir.
Yes.
Can you please identify yourself to the microphone? Thank you.
My name is Eugene Ott, and I'm a resident of 2023 Country Club Drive, Doylestown, PA, over by the estates. Some of you remember probably 8 or 10 years ago, we were actively involved in the discussions and negotiations that were going on with the establishment of the potential elder care or nursing home that was going to be built in back of the AAAs. And a number of us were deeply involved, coming to meetings and actually inviting the developers into our house and looking at the plans and changing the plans so that it would accommodate some of our concerns and everything else. And we thought we were going fairly well along until I think a couple issues, I'm not exactly sure what they were, but one that the developer I thought went bankrupt or didn't have the money to do it. And secondly, that the owner of the property, if I can recall, did not want to give up 3 or 4 acres of the total amount of the footage that was back there. So that meant anyone that was developing it would have to be concerned about what was going to be there later on. And in all honesty, the communications between the residents, the developer, and the township was something I thought was really fantastic, in which we reached a fairly good goal. To my surprise, about 2 weeks ago, I woke up and heard trees being torn down, heavy work going on, and we couldn't imagine what that was. and eventually went around and found out that there was all kinds of work going on that property. Now, I don't get the intelligence or the local paper, and maybe it was in there and everything else, but I talked to a number of people that live in the area. Nobody knew anything about it. So my question to the board is, number one, are the plans the exact same plans that they were before? Is the developer the same that the developer was before? Does the owner still retain ownership of 3 or 4 acres? And most importantly, since I'm on the creek, and Stephanie and Tom and a few others know some of the problems I've had with stones and rocks that come down to an unbelievable extent, what type of guarantee is there with what's going to happen to that floodplain area, given that there's going to be obviously trees and dirt replaced by asphalt and by buildings and things like that? So, like I said, I may have missed the article, but like I said, I talked to about 7 or 8 people already, and no one else noticed it. I just looked at the minutes from last week, and I knew that Lair was here last month to talk about it. But if someone could just fill me in on what transpired, and I could pass the word on. And I obviously I'm concerned about what's going to happen to that creek.
Let me say, it comes as a surprise to us because, in fact, one of the conditions of approval was the incorporation into that approval of an agreement the developer reached with all the neighbors along the border. And they had numerous meetings. We participated with them about exchanges back and forth.
This is Shelburne. The new owner.
The new owner. So that the fact that somehow you didn't get noticed is surprising to me, because all those folks along there were part and parcel from the beginning. And like I said, we incorporated all these requirements that they were insistent upon as far as buffers and stormwater and all that sort of thing. In addition, correct me if I'm wrong, Stephanie, but doesn't everybody get a notice of the Planning Commission meeting?
Yeah, Mr. Ott is not an adjacent property owner, so he would not be as party to that as the Prokopskis and the Lairs and some of the other. But right, and I think Mario can address that.
Let me finish also that the 3 acres that you talked about is included within this development, but is basically open, as I recall. Not going to be developed, but it's incorporated. So that area is to be remained open space, and I think Mario can address the stormwater issues.
Right. And obviously, Mr. Ott, we have the land development plans here in our office. Please feel free to stop by and review them. I'd be happy to go over them with you. I know a number of the residents in the area have come in and looked at them since construction has started with concerns, and Mario has actually been out to some of the other residents' homes along there as well. And Mario, I don't know if you want to talk about the stormwater, but it's pretty extensive, meeting the current BMPs.
Right. I mean, all current stormwater management regulations are being met. The existing basin that was on the site, they put in a new outlet structure for the existing basin. They're creating a new above-ground detention basin adjacent to that one, and on top of that, they have 2 underground infiltration basins for the project. So they've covered, stormwater management for what they need, and probably a little bit more.
But did you folks know when they were going to begin construction?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, they had to have a
We had a
pre-construction meeting with the Bucks County Conservation District as well.
Because of the communications that I allowed earlier in my comments, that the people that were involved, and obviously we would have in the minutes somewhere, I'm going back just knowing who was involved, and they would have been made aware of that. And, so it's not a shock, and we're ready to hopefully, like we always
Get to the microphone. They can't hear you in TV.
Can't hear you.
Can you get to the microphone?
Okay. So at least I think I'm speaking up louder than other people. But okay, so it's been approved. The 3 acres are not going to be retained by the former owner. The former owner is out. It's a new developer. Do you know the name of the developer?
Shelburne.
What is it?
Shelburne
Healthcare.
Healthcare. They're doing the same type of facility, an elder care facility.
And it's going to be the same number of beds as the other plan?
I think it may be less.
Yes,
think
it's...
You don't know that?
It's similar. I mean, I can't say...
I looked at the plans. I went up there, and the fellow was nice enough to show me the plans. I don't recall the other plans from 8 or 10 years ago, but as I said, they opened them up on my kitchen table, and we went through them there, which was a good sign. And it wasn't we were fighting the township or them. We obviously want something that makes sense, that can bring some additional economies to the township and for the tax relief and things like that. We just don't want to have that raging river that we get 10 or 15 times a year get worse. And obviously I'm concerned about that and what that does to our property. So whoever is watching over these folks, I hope they're doing a half-decent job.
Well, he's right there. so-
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's what I'm...
Thank you, Mr. Ott. Any other comments? Next meeting of this board will be Tuesday, September 17th. Our offices will be closed on Monday, September 2nd for Labor Day. Red Cross is holding a blood drive on Friday, September 6th, from 2:30 to 7:30 at the Activity Center. It's the red building behind the administration office. And you can schedule an appointment by going to redcrossblood.org. The Autumn Bird Walk is September 28th at Central Park, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's $5 a person. And backyard composting, September 28th at the Administration Building, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., and that's free for township residents. Next item on the agenda, looking for approval to the minutes from the July 16, 2013 meeting.
Move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Has there been any comments or questions or corrections
No.
that members would like to suggest? No?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Thank you. Proposed traffic signal, York Road and Rogers Road.
Yes, we've received correspondence from PennDOT that the application that was made by Temple Judea for a traffic signal at 263 and Rogers Road did not meet the warrants, and so the signal application has been basically denied, and that they suggest that once the pavilion at Furlong, the property next door, is developed in the area, that they resubmit traffic signal design report and a warrant analysis based on new traffic volumes.
This is not unexpected. The light was going in when the pavilion was or was
Yeah,
not.
there's just not enough traffic being generated, the information provided, and Pinoni did review all of the submission as well. So,
Okay, resignation of a member of the EAC. Your letter's been
Yes.
I have a
submitted.
question.
it's okay. Thank you.
Ken Snyder, in regards to the traffic light, have we been seeing or have any traffic problems since the synagogue opened up? I mean, the traffic light was requested to help with traffic flow, but since it's not there, have we seen any issues with traffic in that section?
I'm not aware of any additional problems that we've had in that area.
And Ken, my recollection of all that process was that the light was potentially going in, the synagogue was going to contribute once the pavilion was developed or not developed, or once that corner was developed. And since there's nothing happening right now, there's no construction, there's no increase in traffic, there's, and the synagogue, they...
So it was denied just because the amount of traffic
Yeah,
didn't
there's
substantiate
not
or
warranted
warrant
at this point.
Not
that,
warranted.
right, the light.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we'll look at it again once that corner becomes something other than
Okay.
a vacant field.
Thanks.
And Ken, just, the lieutenant's correct, we haven't had any issues down there. At the traffic meeting, they bring in reports with the counters, and the chief and the lieutenant come to the meetings, and other than the normal issues, there hasn't been any significant change due to the opening of the synagogue, I think is the thrust of your question.
Sure, okay. So, resignation of EAC Council Member Kelly McGowan. Is there a motion to accept?
I'll move for a motion with regrets.
Is there a second?
I'll second that. Kelly was an excellent member of the council.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
There's also a resignation being offered by Rosemary Huther from the Kids Council Committee. Is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Send them a thank you.
Yeah.
Reports from the solicitor.
Nothing to report that we will discuss later in the agenda.
Chief? Lieutenant? Sorry.
Nothing to report.
Township engineer?
Nothing at this time.
Manager?
Yes. In your packet, you have a memo, and Sandra's here to address any questions that you have. But it was recommended that we create a board and commissions handbook. And the handbook would be a guideline for all of our volunteers, which it's important that all of our volunteers have fun when they're serving on our boards commissions, but we also set forth some guidelines for them. And I think Sandra's done a nice job in putting a booklet together that outlines the structure of the township, the various departments, the liaisons, the structure of each board, the sort of do's and don'ts of the various boards and commissions, the responsibilities of the members, the responsibilities of the chairman, when there are problems, how to address attendance issues, and things of that, making recommendations to the board, issues on fundraising. I think we've covered the gamut pretty well, and if you have any specific questions, Sandra, I'm sure would be happy to answer them, but it would be our recommendation to the board that the board adopt this booklet that we would be able to share with our boards and commissions, our volunteers. I think it would be very helpful. And Sandra put a lot of work in working with the various boards and commissions chairmen and incorporating input as well.
Good. Have all the members had the opportunity to read this handbook brochure?
Of course.
Any questions or comments, additions?
I think it was an excellent job, and Sandra and I spoke with the original one, and I just have a couple of cosmetic verbiage things that I'd like to go over at some point. But other than that, I think the content is great. I think it conveys the point we're trying to convey. And I don't have any problem with the content.
It's hard to do this kind of project and not seem heavy-handed, and you somehow balanced it.
Oh, thanks.
You did a
I
great
was really
job.
worried about
Thank
that
you.
because
No.
that's always the concern with volunteers. You don't want it to be like, follow our rules, but there have been things
No.
that the chairmen have asked for, so
No,
thank you.
it's well done. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion we approve with some minor corrections this Board and Commission handbook.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second that.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Any questions or comments from all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, guys.
Next item on the agenda, Shelbourne, we approved movement of topsoil through electronically, and we're going to ratify that action at this point. Is there a motion to approve the ratification of topsoil relocation?
Yes, it was a win-win for everyone. I agree with Dick's recommendation, and
That-
I support it.
Yeah, that occurred on August 9, 2000.
Basically, the township took possession of some topsoil.
Yes, I thought we did that last meeting. Didn't we approve it?
No, it didn't come up in yet.
Okay. I'll second that motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Ken Thad, update?
I attended the EPA meeting over at Doylestown Borough again earlier this month, and things are moving along. They're still having difficulties getting the appropriate funding, but they do have enough funding to start doing additional monitoring wells, and they'll be putting them in. They'll probably be looking to put one in our open space along the Cooks Run. They're also going to do the monitoring of the Cooks Run. I think everyone's a little frustrated at how long this is taking, but as we all know, having lived through some of the other like MTBs and things like that in our community, it does take a long time to work with EPA, work with the different agencies overseeing these cleanups, waiting for them to get the funding, but it is moving forward, and we'll hopefully very shortly see some additional monitoring wells and information to see where and if that plume is moving. And then the last thing I have is the game grove that the Park and Recreation Board has been working on for a while has been completed, and also the Life Trail has been installed, and that was something the Park Board had also been working on. And we would like to have dedication ceremonies, little ribbon cuttings of those items in our new Central Park, in the Central Park. I think they're a great asset, and I was hoping that perhaps at 4 o'clock on the 17th, prior to your September meeting, that we could do that and dedicate those pieces of equipment.
Sounds good. Okay? Everyone? It's a go.
Okay, thank you.
Looking forward to it. Rick Colella, do you have anything to say?
Add on the game grove?
Supervisors report.
I did the Life Trail on Sunday.
Did you?
Yes, I did. It was very good.
Were you able to complete it?
And no, actually not. And I'm serious. It's very, very good. It says for over 50, so it was questionable. But there are a lot of good exercises. You could spend a lot of time doing it. But interestingly enough, excuse me, when I drove by, got out of the car, walked by, did some walking, and came back, each time there were people there working out. So right away, it's getting some kind of usage. So yes, and then as far as, I just want to spend a minute or two and echo kind of what was brought up before about the Traffic Advisory Committee. It's, and I'm sure the Lieutenant will agree, maybe won't. I mean, it's a frustrating job. We've got speeders all over the township, and every meeting, that's one of the issues. People writing in saying, we've got speeders, what can you do, what can you do? Obviously, the police can't be in two places at once, can't be there all the time. But as we saw in our packet, the citations and the warnings have significantly increased. So we're able to somehow reallocate everybody and catch the people. And I think some of that is through the help of the residents contacting us and saying, hey, we've got a problem at such and such. So I think that's been effective, and I think the word will get out that Doylestown is not, a speed haven. One of the things that we find out at the meeting is there's usually only a few people that are speeding, and they're almost always the residents of that neighborhood. It's the residents who live in the development that's complaining who are the speeders. And when I was walking around a couple of weeks ago, it's interesting that some of the residents can even point out the trucks, and the residents are the ones that are doing it. So, but that's not enough. I mean, we obviously have to be caught in the act and that kind of thing. But so we really would appreciate help from the public. Really want to get the speeding under control. And the other thing that the Traffic Committee does is also more on the lines of safety. So we talked a little bit about the left-hand turn coming north on 611 into Edison Furlong. There's a lane there. We now are going to be getting a turn signal, dedicated left turn signal. That's going to help because that's one of the high accident areas. And I hope Ryan will forgive me for stealing all the thunder from the Traffic Advisory Commission. But so that's one of the other improvements. And the police came up with an excellent idea here on Wells Road in Radcliffe. We extended the lines a little bit. We put up signs. I walked the neighborhood, and it's so
Safer.
yes. So they're doing a great job on the Traffic Advisory Committee. Please come. There's Mark Shiner is a resident, and he runs it. The police chief or lieutenant or sergeants are always there. Our traffic engineer is there, and 8 volunteers from the community. And we do take your comments seriously, so please come and join us. That's all I have.
Thank you. Tom, do you have anything?
Yeah, I just want to, a couple meetings ago, I mentioned the problem this country was having with West Nile virus. Well, it's come to Bucks County now. And a lot of the mosquitoes look for places to have their little ones in water, and a lot of people leave buckets lay around full of water or leave tires or whatever. And I just want to bring up, it'd be great to make sure that you don't leave the water lay around so they have a place to lay their eggs and have these mosquitoes who come and bite you, because now it's, as I say, it's come to Bucks County. It was in New Jersey. It's been all over the country, and we've been kind of, escaped from it, but now we're in the mix of it too. So I just want to make everybody aware, to get rid of the excess water laying around in different, whatever it might be in your yard, so that we don't have mosquitoes laying their eggs in this water. So thank you. That's all I have.
Tom?
Yes, I have a few comments. And I promise, in the interest of time and the folks waiting to come up on the agenda, I'll try to be brief. But I promise some folks from the different committees I will report on several things. So here we go. Regarding the Park and Rec Board, I remind everybody that now the fall program guide, to pick that up, that looks really fantastic. If anybody's seen it, so come out and get that. There are several fall program flyers, too, that are highlighting two particular activities. One was mentioned earlier, the Bird Walk with Ray Hendricks. Another one, Janine Mitchell of the EAC will be giving a talk on native plants. You can pick that up here at the Township Building. I'll forego mentioning the Game Grove and that. We covered that. The dog park membership renewal is upon us. I just remind everybody that to remember to do it now or get prepared to do it, because I think it was last August was when they signed up, but they got pushed off to September because of opening, so they have a little time. But now's the time to do that and start thinking about it. It's hard to believe it's already been a year. Kids Council update. They prepared a few updates here. I know everybody's anxiously waiting to see when that's going to open. So here we go. The castle restoration project is nearing the completion, with the following items already completed. I have already gone over some of these previously, but the castle has been restored with all the new decking, the red roof peaks that you guys can see when you come in the park, the new entrance and exit links have also been installed. A bunch of new play apparatus are now installed, drop zones, log stumps, things like that. Too many to mention here. Several hundred pieces of artwork have already been restored. The maze under the castle has been revitalized, and there are obviously 3 new slides have been installed. 2 of them are those dual twisty slides if you've gone by. Yet to be done, though, and this is what's holding up opening. The castle amphitheater is to be restored with new roofs and new handrails. Security cameras with lighting to be installed. Perimeter fencing remains to be cleaned and stained. New fiber mats to be installed. I guess the rest of the artwork still has to be put up, and some other staining, and obviously various safety inspections have to be done. I just go over all that in detail to say we're not holding it close and purposely. They're working earnestly to get it open, and once those above items are done, they'll be considering an opening date for the castle. I was going to let... maybe I'll wait till the next meeting. I'll talk about bike and hike and some new things going on there. So in the interest of time, that's all I've got.
Good, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
As we prepare for the 2014 budget, we are going to begin our budget work sessions, and I propose that the first 2 be scheduled first on September 24th at 4 p.m. and October 15th at 4 p.m. We will invite the Ways and Means Committee to join us, so I propose those 2 dates to begin that process. Everyone okay with that? Will you advertise?
Yes, we will.
Okay, thank you. The other thing is, Eric Martelak, who's a local attorney, I also happen to know he's 30 years, he's a musician, very good musician, singer, guitar player, local band member, sent a letter to both Ted Anson, President of Borough Council, and to me, the chairman of the Board of Township Supervisors, expressing his appreciation for the Sound of Summer's concert series, and in particular the Darling Side new band that was brought from the Boston area. He gives kudos to Karen Sweeney, who is our Park and Rec Director and also kind of the person who does all the Sounds of Summer concert series, and notes that there are many things for which we are very grateful: an outstanding musical performance in a beautiful and beautifully maintained park, which was there to be enjoyed free of charge by young and old alike in a delightfully festive atmosphere. For these and many other reasons, we feel exceedingly blessed that Doylestown is our home. I think Mr. Martel expresses sentiment a lot of folks share in this community, and I wanted to read that, and I appreciate his letter, because I think that with our work with the borough and residents that we have here and the stuff that we produce, I think we all contribute to a better place. So thank you, Eric. That's all I have. Unfinished business, hot air balloons.
Yes. The Planning Commission, at their meeting in July, met and reviewed the letter that was prepared by the Great Eastern Balloon Association, and I believe one of their members is here this evening, along with comments from the residents. I believe it's the recommendation of our Planning Commission that the Board of Supervisors encourage the Great Eastern Balloon Association to send a letter to its members outlining some advice, if you will, some guidelines when they're flying in and around the Doylestown Township area.
Is that A through H on the Planning Commission?
Yes.
Notes?
Incorporating those. Also, the letter that they've drafted is also attached and was recommended to be sent as well. And they feel that that is the best way to start the process and to see how things go at this time.
Do they have regular meetings this order? Sir, are you from this organization?
No, Mr. Durr.
Durr's over there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You have to use the
Can
microphone.
you come up to use the microphone and identify yourself and...
Hi, I'm Joe Dorr. I'm with the Great Eastern Balloon Association.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you. I reside in White House Station, New Jersey, but the Great Eastern Balloon Association is through Pennsylvania and New Jersey and surrounding states.
Okay, so you heard the concerns of our local community, and your organization is willing to address those concerns.
Yes, we have been addressing them. We will continue
Thank you
to.
very much. Does anybody have any questions of this gentleman?
No,
I really appreciate that you came here and...
Mr. Dorr has been to 3 meetings from White Station to here. He comes to these meetings to represent the Balloon Association, and through his efforts, I mean, there's residents there, there's the Planning Commission. He's been very, very understanding and patient, so I appreciate it.
Well, our goal has always been to make it work, so that's what we're here for.
It's one step in the right direction. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Safe travels home.
Thank you.
You're welcome anytime.
I've got the route down.
Anything else?
No, just if that's the direction of the board, I would ask
Is it
Mr.
the
Dorr.
consensus of the board that we follow that recommendation of the Planning Commission?
Right.
And thank you, sir, for following up with that. All right. Township community media policy.
Yes.
You all received the Doylestown Township Community Media Policy, a.k.a. social media policy. I prefer the word community to social because I can't think of Doylestown Township Supervisors on Facebook, but so I wanted to soften it and have it be something a little more not so trendy or whatever. So I think this pretty much outlines our participation, our role, and how we would proceed with Doylestown Township's participation or, exchange with the community on these various places of social media, which have been identified as Facebook, Twitter. Is that pretty much it?
And anything else that may come up, but those are probably the 2 main ones at this point in time that are popular.
We can include the next invention?
Yes, we can include the
Without
next
having to amend
invention.
this?
Exactly. I set it up so that we can do it that way, because I'm sure
Our
something will come up.
Telecommunications Board has been working very hard on this issue,
Yes.
and I think they've done a good job in regards to setting out some directions of how they want to go with this, and I think, everything they've done has been above board, and I agree with what they say and do, so.
Seems like very well organized, I might add, too.
Very much.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
No.
Additions? We're good?
I'm good.
Yes, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Do you have something else?
No, I was just going to say, yes, we've had this and we've talked to the people involved, so it's not like we just saw it for the first time, so yes.
No, it's been something floating around. Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Thank you. The depth bridge inspection, and I'm going to need help with this. I don't
You don't understand.
we have a memo from Stephanie Dixon and Dick John, Director of Operations, regarding the proposals for our investigation and inspection of various bridges that PennDOT may or may not have an interest in.
And as we were writing this last week, we have, I think, a better understanding because I was able to talk to Roman. We had to put out the proposals after your meeting in April. We put them out to 6 companies that were recommended to us by Roman Jastrzebski, who made the presentation on the initial back in April.
But can we back up for a second? There's an issue with bridges in Doylestown Township,
Yes,
and we identified the bad ones
correct.
that need some kind of attention, right?
Correct.
Some of them are, most of them are PennDOT bridges. Or some,
No.
Some are.
The PennDOT
bridges, too.
Some are county, some but county and township bridges. PennDOT bridges like on Alms House Road or Lower State Road and stuff were not included, correct?
That's
right. So, but the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation has a program in which if a bridge is of a certain size, they will inspect the bridge and give you a report with recommendation. PennDOT will do that. They do that on 3 of our bridges right now.
Okay.
As Mr. Jastrzebski pointed out at the meeting back in April, we have an additional 7 bridges that he believes would qualify to be involved in that program.
Okay.
So he had to go to PennDOT on our behalf and seek their approval to add those bridges onto the list and do reviews. When Dick and I put out the RFP, which the board asked us to put out to do an in-depth study of all of our bridges, we gave sort of a...
all of them,
all of them, if PennDOT accepted...
All of them, the 7 plus the 3?
It would actually, all of 34 bridges,
Okay.
outlining if PennDOT takes the 7, and the 34 if PennDOT doesn't take the 7 and do the in-depth reviews. So we came back with our... Sorry, I want everybody to understand it. So basically, we have 34 bridges that need to be inspected, have in-depth inspections done on those. There are 7 that we have now learned from Roman after this...
They're priorities.
They're not priorities, they're just bridges that will qualify, and PennDOT will accept them and do the review. So,
7 bridges then.
right, they will still, but the companies that will do the in-depth review will just do a cursory review of the documents that PennDOT provides now.
That's on the 7.
That's on the 7 of the 34.
Okay.
So it's actually, saves us money. You have 4 companies that provided us quotes on doing the in-depth study with the cost, including the 7 structures being PennDOT agreeing to accept and review, which is Pannoni with the lowest quote at $50,000. And it's Dick's and my recommendation that we move forward this year. We have the funds. I've spoken to Ken. We have the funds available in general fund that we could use to start that in-depth inspection so that we can start to get prices on what it's going to cost to either replace
Of
or
the 7
repair.
township bridges?
No, of all 34.
All 34.
Including the 7 that PennDOT will take over.
7 of them will be limited reviews.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha. I think.
Yes.
Okay. So we're looking for a motion to approve the award of $50,000 to begin the in-depth...
For the entire project.
For the entire project, correct.
To Pannoni Associates.
Right.
Is there a motion to approve that?
I make the motion that we approve Pannoni Associates for $50,000 to do the in-depth inspection of the bridges.
Second? Is there a second?
Second.
And just a follow-up comment is, we've all heard from all the meetings we've gone to, PSATs, et cetera, any day now, money is going to be released as soon as our legislators get on the same page. And that's usually going to happen around the holidays. So before the Thanksgiving recess, it wouldn't be a shock if a substantial amount of money becomes released. So I would encourage Mario, et cetera, that we got something ready to go. I mean, I'll drive to Harrisburg and take it. I think first in line is going to get the money, so I think we want to be ready.
Okay. I see a comment. Ken?
My question is around the timing. Was that original report in April? Is that when they did the presentation? And here we are in August, and we haven't inspected any of the top priority bridges yet?
We had to go out and prepare specifications for responses. and had to provide the identifiable companies with an opportunity to review those, to make respond to the bid specifications, and now we're awarding that contract.
That doesn't
So-
happen in 30 days.
Well, this is going to be 6 months or more before the first bridge will be inspected. I think that's long, especially when I saw the reds on that map. Or maybe they're not as severe as what I interpreted when I saw that, but red to me means you got to do something, guys, and not wait 6 months.
I think they will do the red bridges first.
Right. I'm just
not red,
surprised
you know what I
it's
mean.
taken over 6 months to do it.
But also understand, Ken, that
Explain him the timeline, why it's
It was actually
Yeah.
4 months.
it's 4 months. I mean, Jeff, I think, explained the first part of it
6
very
months.
well. But even if we had the funding to move forward and say replace the bridge, Mary will back me up on this, but my guess is that the design, the engineering, if we say we're going to replace this bridge or we have to do a repair, there's design, there's engineering, there's permitting. It would still be 6 months to a year if we said go now on X bridge, correct?
That's correct.
Unless you're
so-
the Iron Hill Bridge, in which case it would take 7 years
Yeah, to fight over the size.
because of the complaints from the community regarding changing that bridge. So there's always delay that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
And you can only push the RFP process to such an extent, because we have rules we have to follow in municipal ordinances, in state rules that we have to follow in the bidding process. So that all has to be done carefully. And then when you do the specifications for the RFP, that all has to be done carefully. You just can't pull that stuff out of the air. So does that help explain?
It helps explain, but still not the response I would appreciate.
Right, well-
Because if one of those bridges would fail, guaranteed you'd be working on it.
Right.
So,
Maybe it's possible that your evaluation, but as you said, maybe your evaluation of the red, meaning like it's imminent. or
My
it's
interpretation,
your
yeah.
interpretation, maybe you could get clarification that maybe it isn't, maybe that would
yeah,
better answer.
red is get it looked at now. So that's how...
I'm just thinking
I
maybe Mario
believe
could
that's
address-
what Roman was getting at, that it was four bridges that were, I guess, in the red.
Right.
And he agrees, get them looked at now, but they are not he felt that they were not in any imminent danger of failing. So that was the key. And I think that when Pannoni goes out there, if they see something to that extent, they will come back to the board, and I guess as a stopgap measure, they would close the bridge, close the road, and then using the emergency procedures that DEP has, we would then jump on that bridge right away.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. All those in favor of the motion to award the $50,000?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, Blueberry Hill, amended final development, land development plan.
Blueberry Hill has a long history, obviously, but the amended final land development plan is not so complicated as the prior go-around with respect to this project. Current owner of the Blueberry Hill project submitted an amended land development plan so as to reflect the construction of a playground area for the proposed daycare use and to reconfigure the walkways for the new daycare entrances. Plans before you tonight were prepared by Bowler Engineering. They were dated September 27, 2007, but the revised plans prepared by Fioravanti, Inc. were dated May 28, 2013, and were last revised July 25, 2013. The Planning Commission recommended approval, subject to certain conditions, and Mr. Fioravanti will just show you, I have the conditions enumerated, but Mr. Fioravanti will show you where the changes are, just so the board and the public understands.
Good evening. Vince Fioravanti here with Chris Caffiero from Penmark. They're the owners of the Blueberry Hill parcel. The plan that I have before you is a blow-up rendered version of the grading plan that's part of the amended land development set that we're looking for final approval on. You can see the circle on the project. That encircles the playground area that has to be added to the building adjacent to it to service the daycare. This process actually started in earnest in August 2008, and again, does have a lot of history. On that day, the zoning board approved a daycare use for the site and also approved the playground in that same location. The playground was 3,700 square feet. Ours is 3,173. So over the 5 years, a lot of things have happened, but now there's a new tenant with a new shaped playground and different materials because some regulations have changed, where in the past you could use mulch for the toddler area, now you're not allowed to. I guess they're eating it, but now it's like an X-grass, AstroTurf type product. And so that now is considered an impervious surface. And so there's some little details that we had to iron out. Essentially, the playground's 14% smaller. It does project 10 feet closer to the ultimate right-of-way, so we had to modify some variances. But all in all, we've changed the shape and the material of the playground, and the use was contemplated 5 years ago. So we did work with the consultants to get all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and the plan before you is here for final approval. Review letters are very clean, and essentially it's the culmination of a long process. And we're glad to see the corner coming to life and the daycare people moving in.
If the board was inclined, the appropriate conditions would be compliance with Boucher and James report dated August 13, 2013, including the tree replacement noted in paragraph number 2, compliance with all prior zoning hearing board decisions except as modified by a subsequent decision of the zoning hearing board, receipt of all permits approved by the agencies having jurisdiction over such matters needs to be applicable, applicant to pay all expenses incurred by the township related to the application. All prior approvals are ratified and reaffirmed, subject only to the modifications the same as set forth in the amended final plan. Mr. Canales, you aware of any other things?
No, that's about it.
Mr. Fioravanti, do you agree to those conditions?
We do.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve this with the conditions set forth by our solicitor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other comments, any questions from the residents? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And I'd like to say, I think the corner is looking a lot better. It's a lot more, it's better organized, and it's not as cluttered looking. I don't know what you're doing over there, but it looks so much better than it had been looking.
Thank you.
So I just want you to know that.
Trying our little hearts out. The good news today, we signed another lease.
Oh, good.
Go up there and say, so that means more money to the township. Yes. Ching-ching, I remember that.
Yes, I'm Chris Caffiero with Penmark Management. We're the owners of the Blueberry Hill project.
Welcome.
Thanks. We worked with the Planning Commission, and the Unsung Hero Award was very well placed. His name escapes me.
Tom Kelso.
Tom, who's just a fabulous person to work with, as well as the rest of the Planning Commission. We walked several times through the site to try to look at different ways to upgrade and make the site a little bit more friendlier towards the retail environment. Mm-hmm. And to tell you the truth, when we all came down to it, we decided to leave it the way it is. And that's paid off with the signing of the lease with the daycare center. And then just today, we signed a lease for the whole carriage house. It'll be a spa and yoga space. So we're...
How about it?
Great.
Not toppers, is it?
No, it's
Very good.
That's all I have. Thank you much.
Good luck with it. Good luck. Thank you.
Side Eagle Scout proclamation for Dieter Thomas Van Bigten.
I'll move for approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the proclamation?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Pools Corner PennDOT sidewalk maintenance agreement.
Yes, with the improvements that will be going in at Pools Corner, they are requesting that we enter into a sidewalk maintenance. As everyone knows, there will be bike trail out there, portion sitting in Doylestown Township, and just like the agreement we have with PennDOT on the 202 Parkway, we need to enter into this as well. So I would ask for the board's support in the agreement.
Is there a motion to approve the board's participation in the sidewalk maintenance agreement?
Move for approval.
Any questions from anybody? Is there a second? Anybody have any questions?
No questions.
You haven't had a
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Zoning Hearing Board, W. Crummer, 525 Pebble Road, Hill Road.
Yes, they're seeking some variances. This is trying to put two properties, or actually a property that has old existing buildings on more than one, create a subdivision with it, but they need to be able to go to the zoning hearing board as they have, the two existing structures have setback requirements. So I would suggest we leave this matter to the zoning hearing board. I think they can handle it and dispose of it.
Okay. Consensus of the board?
Yes, yeah,
Thank you.
I know they can handle it.
Wow. Treasurer's report, approval for the August 20th, 2013 report.
Move for approval.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the bills list for August 6th, 2013?
Move for approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
And the bills list for August 20th, 2013?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Next meeting of the Doylestown Township Board of Supervisors, Tuesday, September 17th. We're going to be closed Monday, September 2nd, for Labor Day. The Red Cross is hosting a blood drive on September 6th, 2:30 to 7:30 at the Red Building. And schedule an appointment by going to redcrossblood.org. Autumn Bird Walk, September 28th, Central Park, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's $5. And backyard composting is September 28th at the Administration Building, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And our first meeting for the budget work session is going to be on September 24th, 4 p.m. here. Any other business? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.